Okay, so 2018 paper 1 question 9. So when an earthquake occurs under the sea, they can use large tidal waves called tsunamis. Scientists can estimate the arrival times of tsunamis to nearby countries. So the average speed at which the tsunami travels is given by this formula. So S is equal to the square root of G multiplied by T, where S is the speed of the tsunami in meters per second, D is the depth of the ocean in meters at the location where the earthquake occurred, and G is equal to 9.8 meters per second squared. So for part A, find the speed of the tsunami where an earthquake occurs at a depth of 2000 meters. Give your answer in meters per second. So to find the speed, we're going to have to do the square root of G, which is 9.8, and then we're going to multiply it by D for depth. So the depth here is 2000. So then we're going to put that into our calculator, and we get 140. So that's the speed in meters per second. So that is 5 marks. A tsunami has been identified as beginning 400 kilometers from land. The depth of the ocean at that point is 2000 meters. Find how long it will take the tsunami to reach land. Give your answer correct to the nearest minute. So they're talking about time, so they must be talking about distance, speed and time. So to find time, we're going to have to do distance divided by speed. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to divide the distance, which is 400 kilometers. To change that to meters, we multiply by 1000. And then we just divide it by 2000, which is the depth. And that means that the speed then, or the time, is 2857.14, but that is in seconds, meters per second. So what we're going to do then is to change it to the nearest minute, is we're going to have to divide that by 60. And here we get 47.619 minutes. And lastly, they want you to change it to the nearest minute, so that is 48 minutes. So that is 5 marks for that. So 5 for the first bit, 5 for the second. For part B, rearrange the formula to give D in terms of G and S. So if S was the square root of G times D, what we're trying to do here is make D the subject. So we can see that D is stuck under a square root, so we're going to have to square both sides. So that's going to turn into square S, it's S squared, and the square root of G by D is just going to be G times D, because what it does is it gets rid of the square root. So to make D the subject, then all we're going to have to do is, if you rearrange S squared and divide it by G, that will give you what D is on its own. So D is equal to S squared divided by G. Hence or otherwise, find the depth of the ocean at the place where an earthquake occurred. If the resultant tsunami had a speed of 55 meters per second, give your answer correct to the nearest meter. So we're trying to find D for depth, and we know that the formula is S squared divided by G, because that's what we found earlier. So we know that the speed here is 55, so that's 55 squared, and we know that G is 9.8. So if I do 55 squared divided by 9.8, I get 308.67, and that's meters. They want me to round it to the nearest meter, so that's 309 meters is closer, and that is 15 marks for that part there.